welcome to my court, outsider. Since you entered my domain, I have watched your actions with keen interest. You have been generous with my people and more patient than I expected. But I still cannot gather one thing. Why have you come? Again, not what I expected. I think I've heard of this old merry dominion, but I don't see how inclusion in this group would appeal to me or to the people in my domain. Aligning with you would only alienate us from others. Interesting. You think we have common enemies? My only enemies are those who would seek to harm Valenwood. Let us use the other stone pillar, the one on the platform behind us. Touch that stone pillar and an apparition will appear. One of your enemies, as you say. I am pleased to be able to lend you strength to face this enemy from your past.
Strike us down, but the veiled heritance will always rise again.
Zazi is finished with this village. Now you are negotiating with a forest spirit who calls himself a king? With all those floating leaves, Azazi thinks he looks very silly. Do you really think this is going somewhere? Or is it just a waste of time? By the light of John and Jode, this is the craziest thing ever seen! Even Razumdar would have lost his patience by now. If you think all this makes sense, then Azazi is starting to wonder about you, too.
I sense the darkness in the heart of the one you fought, but he has already been defeated, has he not? And those like him, they may not all share his darkness. The Veiled Heritance. Yes, I am familiar with this distinction as well. There is one among this group who has come to Valenwood to see me, and I find her curious. Very. She is one who has been blessed with fascinating gifts. Gifts I cannot afford to ignore. You would know her identity, though. I was able to capture one of her memories. Touch the petition stone again, and I will share it with you.
We have much need of someone like you, Ananias.
Yes, young one. We have a problem in the Valenwood that will require your talents specifically.
I would be honored to help however I can.
An opportunity has arisen to strike a devastating blow to the Dominion, to divide the Bosma.
The Bosma in Greenshade claim allegiance not to King Camoran, but to a man they call the Wilder King.
Killing this Wilder King will drive the Bosma mad. He is very elusive, though, so I will need your help to find him.
You realize we are entrusting you with an important task, I hope, my dear.
Of course, Lady Estria, you can count on me.
As you've just seen, the young girl Aranais is associated with the Veiled Heritance. Until I know more about her, I hesitate to call her an enemy. I will have more. So she believes. But there may be a greater truth to her purpose here. You may not like this, but I sense the same is true of you. Like the branches of a grottoak, I believe that Aranais' destiny, my destiny, you must eventually come to my throne, but not yet. Each of us, you should seek out the spinner, Marwan. He can tell us how this story began and where it should end. Yes. Traveling through Valenwood is a funny thing. It may take them many days to find the path to my throne. You have all the time you need. Find the spinner's cottage and speak to Morrowind. Safe journeys, my friend.
Dancing elves, forest spirit kings. These people are pulling on the tail in more ways than one. You can stay if you want to, but Azazi thinks it is time for him to return to Marbrook.
I was beginning to think you wouldn't make it. Yes, of course. I have been waiting for you for some time. The store? You certainly took your time about things. Not your fault, I understand, not your fault. We may yet get this right. Inside the story. You must also enter the story in order to help her. Aranias wants to see the Wilder King. I'm his gatekeeper. To see him, you ask me nicely, and then I tell you a story. A story that you take part in. Yes, the story is one from her own past, but she's convinced that she's living through these events for the first time. You'll play the part of the close friend she... Ask nicely. Of course. Now, sit down by the fireplace. Imagine there's a nice warm fire burning there, and I'll set the scene.